Hi, I'm Paul McGee, author of the book How to Succeed with People. Remarkably easy ways to engage, influence and motivate almost anyone. Have you ever been in a meeting or a presentation and given up the will to live? Do you know what's even worse? It's when you're running the meeting or you're giving the presentation. And to be honest, I wonder if that's happened to a few of us, where we just realise we haven't really engaged our audience, whether that's in a meeting context or in a presentation. And yet if we can develop the skill where we get people to sit up and listen when we stand up and speak, that is going to have a real positive influence in how we can impact and engage other people. You see, we need to avoid one thing in particular, and that is drowning people in detail. We give people far too much information. It's like we lift the lid to their brain and pour in all that content, close it again and think they've got all that knowledge. Do you know what? They haven't. And deep down, you and I know that. We can tell when we look at them. Their eyes give away the story, don't they? The lights are on, no one's at home, the wheel's turning, but the hamster's dead. You see, we need to appreciate that actually that's not the best way to engage our audience whatsoever. Please just remember this. No one is bored into your way of thinking. And if you're in communication with someone and you say to them, well, to cut a long story short, just realise 90% of the time internally, they're giving you a standing ovation. So how can you widen your influence and increase your impact in terms of how you communicate with others? How can you be successful in putting across your message? Let me give you 3 points. Here's point number 1. Recognise their reality. What do I mean by that? Well, think about this. Maybe people sometimes have said to themselves, you know, we're sick of boring meetings, we're sick of listening to boring presentations. Well, think of that phrase, we're sick. And I want to use that as an acronym, WSIC. And that simply stands for this. Why should I care? You see, if you think about your audience's needs rather than simply what you've got to say, and start to think that maybe deep down, perhaps subconsciously, they're asking themselves the question as they're listening to you, why should I care? You see, if you think about their needs, their reality, their priorities, their concerns, their hopes, once you've thought more about your audience's needs, then you can communicate and connect with them. So the first point is, recognise their reality. Remember, people are asking themselves, why should I care about this? Your second point is this. Point out the pain before providing the prescription. You see, in order to win people over, we need to sell the why in before we get the buy-in. Let me explain. In some of my presentations, I talk about the need to develop fruity thinking, to think in a different and more positive and fruitful way. I talk to people about 7 questions to help you shut up and move on. But what I do before that is I talk about faulty thinking, about how we sometimes beat ourselves up by listening to our inner critic. And I unpack the faulty thinking. I let people experience the pain and understand the realisation that we're never as effective in life when we're listening too much to what I might call our inner critic rather than our inner coach. And so once people have felt the pain, then they're far more open to receiving the prescription. So rather than simply think I must sell my ideas to this audience and provide the prescription, take some time out initially to really paint the picture of the pain and perhaps the consequences if we don't do anything. Here's your third point. Give them the 3 Gs, not the BGs, but the 3 Gs. And the 3 Gs are simply this. Grab them, give them, and goodbye. What do I mean by that? Well, think about the first 90 seconds of your presentation of that meeting. You want to engage people, you want to get their attention, and you don't do it by doing this. Hello everybody, in the next 45 minutes I want to go through 425 slides. Can you hear me at the back? No, of course they can't hear you at the back. They just left the building. So in my presentations, sometimes at the beginning, I'll talk about how much would you benefit from increasing your self-confidence and decreasing your anxiety. I want to engage people straight away. I want to grab them. Of course, you then got to give them your content, but don't forget the goodbye. Perhaps it's a call to action. So, here's my challenge to you. If we want to engage people, if we want to influence them, if we want to improve our impact, then avoid drowning people in detail. Recognize their reality, point out the pain before providing the prescription, and remember the 3 Gs. Grab them, give them, and goodbye. I wish you loads of success.